The Northern Woods and Inuitia. Luna and I took a week off in August to go camping up in the deep northern woods, in Acadiana and Basterio Park specifically. They were popular wilderness destinations, what with Basterio being the home of Mount Catamara, and Acadiana featuring cliffside views of the coastline. We spent 3 nights in each park before driving back to Hip Forest at the end. It was by far one of the best segments of our relationship, those days we spent in the great northern woods, with nothing else and no one else to consider. We hiked a few mountains including Mount Catamara, enjoyed some camp-style cooking, and felt passionate all the while. There were ups and downs, of course, such as when I thought I locked the keys in the trunk, even though they were still accessible through the back seat, or how Luna started the vacation off with a bad cold, but it was all nothing compared to what was to come. The trip was mostly us at our best, giving each other love as a priority above all else and letting nature do the rest. Then there was our trip to Inuitia in late September. For those who don't know, Inuitia is one of the 2 provinces not connected to the main network of the United Provinces, unlike the Northern Woods and the Green Mountains. Getting there takes a long flight from the east coast to the west, and then a straight shot north over Canada. Once we made it to Inuitia, we had to take a little puddle jumper plane to get to our destination. So after 3 plane flights, we arrived in Hugo, an artsy fishing district of Inuitia, where we were to stay with Luna's college friends, Marcia and Stan. They had moved out there from the east so that Marcia could work on a farm, while Stan did timber framing. The whole trip arose from them inviting us to stay at their cabin with them for a week. Luna's older sister happened to have many flyer miles, so with discounted tickets, we made it happen and got the cheapest tickets to Inuitia that I will ever get. I never thought that I'd be going to Inuitia, the furthest point north in the United Provinces, the Northern Woods, on steroids. Our biggest plans were to spend time on some beaches and to take a hike on a glacial lake island. The night we arrived, Marcia and Stan picked us up in their truck and got us settled at their cabin. We were invited to join them for a birthday party that night, and there was going to be a buffet of homemade poke, sushi, and pho. Luna was tired from the time change and all the flying, but how could we turn down a party, our first night in Inuitia? Once we arrived at the party, we met the star of the show, the birthday boy, a man named Obi-Wan. Yep, the guy was named after a Star Wars character. And who was he? He was a local celebrity born and raised in Inuitia, famous for being caught on film saving a man from drowning in a river, a video that went viral on YouTube. I later learned that his mum was a big wig in the town, and basically every other local mum adored him. What a guy, huh? Equally important at the party was a man with green power, something I was very grateful for after a long journey. I consumed a healthy portion of his green power and remarked on its solid quality. What is the legal status of green power in Inuitia, by the way? I was genuinely curious. Green power was starting to be decriminalized and even straight up legalized in a number of provinces at that time. It's legal as fuck, bro, Obi-Wan chimed in. He quickly added that green power stores were going up in town in just a matter of time. I talked to another guy at the party and told him the green power was super dank and delicious. Do you even know what dank means? He scoffed as he said it. Like the real definition? I gave him my death stare. The poor fuck didn't know I was an English major in college, and didn't think I knew that dank was a word used for describing damp, musty and cold places or things. Well, it actually has quite a few definitions, depending on context, I started. I then went on to list the different definitions and did not allow him to interrupt. This was his punishment for assuming that I was a dumbass. Aside from that, the rest of the party went great, and we stayed into the night. The only problem was that Luna crashed hard, not doing well with staying up 24 hours. I'll admit that staying up 24 hours in the midst of travel was quite exhausting, but Luna still needed sleep in a way that babies do. She went outside and started crying and groaning about being too tired to hang anymore. Though I was able to be understanding and could comfort her in my green power haze, deep down it bothered me that she couldn't just roll with the punches, so to speak. Eventually we got Stan and Marcia to wrap things up at the party, and we headed back to their cabin. Unfortunately, things only got more contentious for me and Luna out there in Inuitia, between the poor accommodations and our generally growing dysfunction. I felt like Luna didn't value my additions to conversation, and I felt that her and her college friends were a bit pretentious. I was only trying to have fun, and the entire time I had to deal with Luna's mood swings. Like all the times the conversation would go from 0 to 100, just like that. I felt like we didn't have control over our food enough, and also like I wasn't entirely prepared for the trip. Luna and I had to sleep on sleeping pads on sauna benches in an inactive sauna to top it all off. With no spooning and no sex, there was plenty of tension that needed somewhere to go. We grew extremely angry with each other at certain points, enough so that we ended up having a huge argument in a field of cabbages. I told her how I couldn't stand how she was treating me, and how I should be having a much better time than I was, but that it felt impossible to do so, and she didn't even really seem to care. Of course, I don't remember much of what she said back, but we almost broke up to the extent that Luna asked me at one point, "Are you breaking up with me in a cabbage field?" To which I replied, "I'm certainly thinking about it." We both cried and took it easy that night. In the following days, we made up and had sex while her friends were gone. Luna told me that Marcia and Stan had gone through relationship issues similar to what we had just experienced, so we shouldn't worry too much about it. We also got to go out to eat and had some delicious fracos, French fries in the style of nachos. One night we had access to a friend's hot tub, which for some reason Luna and her friends were all adamant about Skinny dipping in. So in efforts to not be a bashful square, I shared the sight of my naked body with individuals I hardly knew, and they did the same. It was fine, but still awkward and confusing. I didn't really like Stan seeing Luna naked and proceeding to comment on the shape of her nipples compared to Marcia's. I'm sure Stan enjoyed seeing another girl naked for the first time in a while, and Luna wasn't shy about complimenting Stan on how cool and rustic he was. Meanwhile, Marcia didn't seem to want me to see her naked, nor was I really excited about the idea anyway. The whole thing felt fishy, and definitely wasn't the vibe I was going for. Still, we found a way to enjoy ourselves. Let's not forget all the great things that happened in Inuitia: a bear sighting, a glacial lake, delicious salmon, beautiful views, daily eagle sightings. It was all so surreal, and I think it was so much so that there needed to be a counterpart to this lucky, majestic trip. And that counterpart was a series of complicated relationship problems. On our way back to home, we stopped in Welshing for a couple nights and stayed with Luna's sister Cora, her husband Leon, and their daughter Nadia. It was a supreme relief to stay in Leon's fancy loft studio barn in their backyard, equipped with a queen-size bed and a shower. I felt an emotional turn towards Luna, and we started to vibe again, all equipped with our creature comforts. We spent the next day walking around a local Japanese garden, a network of koi ponds, bonsai trees, red maples, etc. Luna's niece Nadia was quite annoying at times, but contrary to Luna's opinion, her sister Cora was quite pleasant. She was affirmatively in control, like Luna, but somehow more serene and laid back. The day that we took off on our red-eye flight, I had Cora drive me to the recreational green power store, My first one, in fact. Legal green power was a rather new thing back then, and it was exhilarating to step foot in the store and to make an informed choice from a wide selection. As Cora drove me to the green power store alone, I expressed my honest confusion about Luna and told her about the fight that we had in Inuitia. I explained how it had been really hard to get along with Luna a lot of the time. Her response was surprising, because instead of sticking up for her sister, she honestly explained that she too had experienced complications with Luna. In the family, Luna was known to possess a fiery personality that could sometimes be difficult. She told me that Luna meant well for sure, and wrapped up the conversation by basically saying good luck. I liked the answer, and the fact that she was willing to drive me to pick up some green power. I purchased a one-and-done green power stick and brought it back to the house. We ate dinner, and Luna and I consumed the green power in the backyard. I didn't really want Luna to consume any, simply because she hadn't consumed any in a long time, and this was strong stuff. She didn't have nearly as much as I did though, and thus held it together while I blasted off into space. The entire car ride to the airport consisted of Luna and Cora chatting, while I spaced out and wondered when the last time was that I had been this stoked off green power. "Right, Steverino," Luna chimed in, assuming I had been listening to her conversation. "Absolutely," I chimed back, unaware to what I was agreeing to. We got on the plane ride, and neither of us slept well on the red-eye flight. We arrived at the airport to meet my parents, who of course had been awake since 6 in the morning and were raring to hear about the trip. Luna was in a terrible mood coupled with sleep deprivation, and we grumbled on home in sweet relief that the trip to Inuitia was over, in all its emotionally draining glory.